angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our words of stone are ashes and we both passed on, let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. So I want to start out by apologizing for missing yesterday's show. I had a tooth start bothering me the evening before, and so I barely got any sleep, and was quite sore, and I didn't want to do anything that could possibly aggravate it. And plus, I was so beat. I was just wore out. So, again, my apologies for missing the show. Thank you for your patience. I'm not completely out of the water. It probably 2-3 more days. But the pain has went away. The swelling, I think it's starting to go down. And soon enough, I'll be good as new. So, not a real big deal. But one of those things, I'm a firm believer in nipping things in the bud, and so I decided it was best to just kind of hold off. So I want to address one other thing before I kind of get on with the normal kind of stuff. Had a complaint the other day on the last monologue video that I put out that it took me 8 minutes to get to the subject, right? Had another complaint that my intro video is too long. I file both those complaints in the I don't give a damn department. And here's the reason why. Number one, on average, on a normal week, I'm live 20 hours a week. A 5-minute song for an intro is not too much for a 4-hour show, right? People are set through longer than that to watch their stupid court TV shows or their police shows or whatever the hell they watch on that stupid tube. So, argument invalid. As far as me taking a little bit to get to the meat of the topic, welcome to this world. I don't know of many channels that don't give a little bit of a teaser before they get right on into it and get their hands dirty. There's a reason for that. Now, most of this type of stuff, in order to try to draw people's interest or try to do this or that in order to create bigger numbers and all that, most of it I ignore. But that one I won't. That one I won't, because I'm not after the numbers. I'm not after the drawing the interest, but I just want to give a little bit of a taste before we get on into it. And the reason why is because I often see things from a different angle than most people. And, you know, a title of a video can't display that very easily, not when I'm limited to, you know, so many characters. So, bear with me. Usually the information is worth it. If it's that much of a hassle, there's this little slider thingy. It's kind of cool, a little slider thingy that's near the bottom of the video, and you can slide it. That's why they call it a slider thingy, right? And you can fast forward through the parts. There's also an X in the corner. Click that too. Don't care. I really don't. I'm putting this information out for the individuals that want it. Plain and simple. So, let me just give you an update on the Amazon stuff. I'm not going to go all through the whole spiel today because I've got a whole lot of stuff. A whole lot of stuff, as you can imagine. So, just an update real quick on Amazon. We are up to 1621. So, wanted to give you a quick update on that. We're done. So, what I want to talk about. If I had $1 million to give TJ Morris of Bear Independent and Kyle of Survival Prepping for Normal People to be able to play their intro video, their Patreon videos During my monologue today, I wouldn't bat an eye. I really wished I could play their videos for you. They both put out videos that are so incredibly important that I'm going to do my best to convey the message, even though I can't play the videos. Number one, let me cover Bear. He's the first one I've got wrote down here. Actually, the second video I watched today, but first one I have wrote down. He made a video talking about pressure differential. And he was talking about in his prior profession how they used to have to pressure test, we'll just call them pipes, okay? And how they went about that was they put a cap on the end of the pipe, and then they pressurized the pipe with air. And the whole idea was the pipe was supposed to be able to hold that pressure for a set amount of time. Okay? And this applies to not only our daily lives, but especially crisis in our daily lives. Now, many of you are aware of my prepping priority list. I'm speaking of number 1 being spiritually prepared, number 2 being mentally prepared, number 3 being knowledgeably prepared, and then finally number 4, physically prepared. I've talked about that many, many times. And this ideal that he put out is for that very reason. They do this pressure testing to make sure that when everything's all said and done, the pipe's all installed, they've got everything ran through it, and all of that, that it's not going to fail. It's not going to collapse. Okay? I would tell you the same thing about your spirituality, same as he did. Okay? Make sure that you're so filled up inside spiritually that no matter what kind of pressure is on the outside, you won't fail. You won't collapse. Very important lesson today from Bear. Very important lesson. Kyle was talking about, that's survival prepping for normal people, was talking about a lot of different stuff, but he mentioned this whole washing the hands thing. Well, we're about as certain as it's going to get that this virus is spread through aerosol means as well as through particulates. Okay? And what's important to know about that is that while I'm not telling you not to wash your hands, what I'm telling you is it's futile. Okay? Please do. Don't not do it because I said that. But what I'm getting at is this goes far past touching something that somebody else had touched, okay, and then touching your face. Okay? This is aerosolized, meaning it's in the room, it's in the air. Okay? Much, much more serious than what's really being openly reported as of yet. Again, I want to clarify. I am not telling you to not wash your hands. Not saying that in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just telling you that we need to be more precautious than just that. So, he brought up a good point when it comes to this whole, because everywhere is telling you, wash your hands, wash your hands. You got idiots on Facebook acting like they wash their hands, 20 times a day their entire life. And like I've told you before, they're full of shit. Unless you're a germaphobe, you probably don't wash your hands as often as what you're supposed to. Just the way it is, folks. It's just the way it is. So let's not put off us as being something we're not. Saying. But So why? Why is it they're all, that's all they can say. Wash your hands, wash your hands. Well, he brought up the whole midwives thing from back in the day, whenever a woman would be birthing, and the midwives would tell the man, the father, at least hopefully. Back then, most of the time it was the father, That certainly wasn't the baby daddy. There were no baby daddies. And hopefully it wasn't the milkman or the guy. Anyway, beyond the point, they would tell the man to go boil some water and get some clean towels. Now, did they need that hot water and those clean towels? Yeah, they did. They did. But that's not why they told the man to go do that. They basically told the man to go do that to get him out of their hair, so they could do the work that needed to be done. Okay? They knew that men were not only not acclimated for that, but they weren't used to that, they weren't experienced in that, or anything else, and it was easier to get the task done without the man there. Hey, I'm good with that. I not have to, So that's why they did that. It's not that they didn't need the towels and the hot water. Just like I'm saying, it's not like it's not like you should not wash your hands. Most certainly wash your hands, right? But understand that most of all, there's a psychological aspect to this that they just want you to feel like you're actually helping, okay? So I wanted to run that past you. I thought both of those were very, very, very good things, very good videos they made today. And again, if I had $1 million to hand each one of them and say, let me use your video today, I wouldn't bat an eye, because those were $1 million videos. So anyway, wow. Are we in for a nightmare? Are we in for a nightmare? Today, Costco, Ohio. Okay? This was right after the governor made an announcement of a school closing, statewide school closing. Okay? If you haven't been out, if you're not a prepper, which I feel I'm probably speaking to the choir largely here, but if you've not been out, if you're not a prepper, get out now. Get the things you need now. And the things you need is not a 5-year supply of toilet paper. Okay? If that's what you think you need, then please get with myself or one of the wonderful people in the chat here, or, a prepper group on Facebook. We will help you. We will help you make sound, responsible choices. Okay? We've been doing this for a while. A long while for some of us. We will help you. I would much, much rather spend my day taking out time helping people understand what they can do to ensure their own personal protection and safety and well-being than anything else. Right now is key. Right now is critical, because we don't have much more time. That window of opportunity is about slammed shut. I don't know that I would advise people to order anything online at this point. If it's something that you're going to want to make sure that you have to be able to confront this with. Amazon maybe, if it's like next day stuff and all of that, no sweat. But if you're talking long-term freeze-dried foods and stuff, you can pretty well give up being able to order it online and get it in time. Okay? So do what you can. You don't have to have freeze. Here's the thing, folks, and I think this is a misconception too. Let me hopefully save you a bunch of money here and heartache. Okay? You don't need long-term storage foods. Why? Because we're not prepping for a crisis that could be 20 years away. We're prepping for a crisis that's right now. You don't need something with a 25-year shelf life. Okay? At this point, a 1-week shelf life is good to go for now. If you get what I'm saying. So you don't need to go out and buy the expensive prepper food. Okay? Just go out and get you some canned goods and just go grocery shopping like you normally would. Just try to be a little more heavy on the non-perishables. Okay? Or the perishables that will last you at least a couple of months before they go bad. Don't go out and spend unnecessary money for this crisis. Okay? If you haven't previously been a prepper, take care of this crisis now. Get this crisis under your belt. Okay? Then, after this is all said and done with, which I'm sure at some point it will be, then start looking into investing some long-term storage foods, because you won't be able to predict when the next crisis will be. So please, if you're not ready, go get ready now. Because we're going to see a chain reaction of this. We've already been seeing chain reactions of this with different sports canceling the rest of their seasons, with schools now starting to shut down. You know, folks, I would say that we're within a week of a national lockdown. Why? Because out of all the countries on the planet, we probably have the most irresponsible society. Okay? So, for one, people are going to be waiting until the last minute. Okay? That's going to cause issues, especially when the stores aren't stocked and supplied for a rush like that. You want to get this while you can. Not only that, but folks, when things start getting slim, guess what? You're going to have price gouging going on. You're going to have incredible things going on. I don't think you would like to pay $10-$20 for a loaf of bread, do you? Get out there and get the stuff now. Don't wait for your governor to make a declaration. Don't wait for your neighbor to die from corona or from COVID. Okay? Do it now. Be responsible. That's why we'll be on lockdown, because we're not responsible. I'm in all kinds of different groups and stuff, like on social media. And, some of those groups are groups that promote like Blue October. Y'all know that we love Blue October. Well, right now, if you go into the Blue October groups, the only thing anybody is worried about, well, not anybody, there are some people there with common sense, but the majority there, the only thing that they care about is whether the show's going to go on or not. They don't care that they could get sick. They don't care that they could transmit the virus to the band and get the band sick. They don't care about any of that. It's all selfish, me. The show must go on. Folks, I hate to say it, but when you run around and you act like that, you do need a government to play Big Daddy. It's sad. It's sad. Get what you need. Get it squared away. Do it now. Hopefully you can avoid these lines. Hopefully you can avoid issues of shortages. Do it now. 3 months. 3 months. But Mike, quarantine's 14 days. Wrong. That's what a normal quarantine is. But I'm not prepping you for the quarantine. I'm prepping you for the aftermath. Just because a quarantine is lifted doesn't mean that the aftermath automatically goes with it. We're in trouble. We are in some serious, serious trouble, folks. 2,352 points in the red. As you see the headline in front of you, Dow plunges 10% and worst drop since 1987 market crash amid coronavirus fears. Now they're not even talking about 2008 anymore. What's next? It's not the virus that I'm wanting you to get prepared for. Okay? It's the after effects, the aftermath that I want you to be prepared for. 3 months, 90 days. Make sure you don't have to go anywhere. Make sure you have a method of being able to filter water. But why would water be shut off? No? Good question. A lot of answers to that. Number one, what if the water supply somehow gets interrupted because the people that work in the plants to keep the equipment running and everything going are sick? You know, at that point, yeah, you still may have water coming out of your tap, but what's in it? Make sure you have a way to filter water. The other thing is, something I want you to understand is unprepared, scared people in crisis do really crazy stuff, folks. Really, really crazy stuff. They get really, really angry. They get really, really jealous. Okay? Anybody that's got, you know, like I've said it before, and it's a fact. Everybody is a communist when in need. Everybody. You, me, everybody is a communist when in need. Now, it's not an insult. I'm not insulting anybody here. That's not the point. But if we are truly, truly, truly in need, pretty much all of us will reach out for help. Okay? We could likely see people doing really, really unthinkable things, like poisoning a water supply. How about electricity? What about somebody that gets mad and so they start knocking down power lines, power poles, and affect the lines? Okay? These things happen. If you're unaware of these things, go check out other countries that have been in crisis and been through crisis and look at all of the crazy shit that the scared, unprepared people do. It's eye-opening. It's eye-opening. So this isn't just about a virus. I know everybody's getting sick of hearing about it. I get that. I do. I wouldn't still be on it if it wasn't that important. I would have moved on. This is not 5G. This is not some crazy whacked out. Look, do we know where this came from? Well, we're pretty certain, but still, does it matter? No. What's the motto here? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter where it came or where it came from. It doesn't matter how it came about. Not now. Not right this second, it doesn't. The only thing that matters is how you are prepared to deal with it. That's the only thing that matters, folks. None of all this other jazz, none of it really matters at this time. If you're starving to death, none of that really matters. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I wanted to kind of segue that into just a talking point, if you want to. If I don't know if that's the correct term to use. But let's dive into what I said doesn't fucking matter. Okay? Let me go back on my own word just for a moment. I'm finding it very interesting that a lot of the individuals that we're hearing about catching this are individuals that normally live in a bubble, like politicians, high-level officials, stuff like that. I even have to question whether or not Trump could be infected. He couldn't even finish a complete sentence last night without losing breath. And I know others noticed it too. It's been been in the news, you know. It's a crazy theory, but I want to get it out there that this possibly a government that's trying to eliminate or at least preoccupy other governments for a takeover, for an invasion. Think about that. Think about the confusion and disarray that a country would have, including and especially the United States, if our administration and Congress were largely out due to illness. Boy, that would be some prime picking, wouldn't it? Just a thought. Now, let's run with that. Let's say I have a point. Let's say I have an inkling of truth in there. Are we looking at war? Telling you, if it would turn out that that is what's going on here, man, we're not talking about a little proxy war in the desert. We're talking full on. A little more food for thought. I'll leave it at that. It's for you to think about. But remember, in the end, it doesn't fucking matter right now. The only thing that matters is how you can deal with the current immediate threat. Please, please, if you haven't already, be prepared. So I'm going to run through the headlines. And by the way, bear with me if if I'm a little different as far as getting out monologue videos here on out. I am using different software that I'm not used to. So I'm actually shocked that I got the last monologue out as swiftly as I did. This software is completely 180 degrees different than any other I've used for doing video editing. So, but bear with me. The software is a million times better than any other software that I've used doing video work with. And once I get the hang of using it, we're going to see things step up a little bit. So bear with me while I do that. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to actually be covering headlines from the last 2 days because I wasn't here yesterday. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I have some news I have to get out. This is the way it is, folks. This stuff is coming in hard and heavy. I mean, it's not letting up. It's been nonstop. Which brings me to another note, couple of notes. If something were to happen that I can't do a show like yesterday, bookmark our Twitter. Because even though I didn't do the show, I still tweeted out the news. Okay? So please, bookmark our Twitter. Not telling you that because I want followers. I don't give a damn if you follow me. Just it's public. Make sure you've got the link. That way you can see the news. Okay. Not interested in followers and the whole. I could give a damn less. Right. Let me see. Give me 1 second here. Almost got him. Yeah, I mean, just in that amount of time that I'd been talking, I've got 4, well, yeah. Yeah, all 4 things to go out. believe it or not, less than normally on a normal, any normal time, it's less than half the headlines I get that I put out. Because most of them are just, sports or entertainment or whatever. However, one of those four have nothing to do with the virus, believe it or not. But it is certainly important and needs to get out. Okay, so sorry about that. Thank you for bearing with me while I got that information out. Let me have a sip of tea here. I'm not drinking coffee. I even foregone my coffee for today. Again, I don't want to irritate this any. Okay. Starting from yesterday's news, coronavirus closings, there are substantial benefits to not dilly-dallying around. Very sound advice. Council on Foreign Relations cancels coronavirus-themed conference in New York City because of coronavirus. Let's see. Italians line up in extended supermarket queues amid coronavirus lockdown. Now, again, we're on yesterday's news, and I just showed you a picture today from a Costco in Ohio where there's lines of people trying to get supplies. Get out there and get your things. Russian parliament approves final bill on amendments to the Constitution. U.S. shale collapse will lead to higher oil prices. Again, yesterday's news. Horrific Mexico City metro train smash leaves 1 dead and dozens injured. Washington grants blacklisted Huawei 45-day license extension. Berlin police put the emphasis wrong there. Berlin police suspect political violence as second car of an AfD member torched in Germany within days. We will give a much harsher response. Erdogan warns Damascus over Idlib. Erdogan slams Greece's Nazi treatment of refugees, vows to keep borders open until EU fulfills migrant deal. Again, reminder, this is yesterday's headlines. Norway cancels NATO's Arctic cold response exercises over coronavirus threat. Now, see, I wish they would stop calling it panic and fears and, threat is getting there. It's getting better. We need to stop treating this like it's just, unbridled fear, like it's, that's probably not the right word I'm looking for. Like there's no basis to it. No, don't be afraid. I'm not telling you to fear, but be respectful of this. Certainly be respectful of this. I love motorcycles, right? I love riding motorcycles. Not scared whatsoever to get on one and ride one. I love them, right? But I respect the hell out of them because I don't like road rash. Let's see. China getting back to business as worst of coronavirus outbreak in country appears to be over. What China's reporting, and they may be. Don't know. Not there. Don't want to be there. Let's see. Still on yesterday, global market turmoil creates economic opportunities for Russia, says Putin. Merkel is stirring up panic by warning that up to 70% of Germans could contract COVID-19, says Czech PM Babis. 70%. 70%. This thing is extremely contagious. Only C- grade, Putin rates Russia-U.S. relations as more bad than good. That's not news here. Been saying that all along, regardless of Trump saying, oh, we're best of buddies. No, we're not. I don't think the U.S. is best of buddies with anybody right now except Israel. Let's see. Tanker rates soar as Saudi Arabia and UAE get ready to open oil taps. Hollywood producer Weinstein, sentenced to 20, well, he is a potato head, sentenced to 23 years on sexual assault charges. World Health Organization declares coronavirus a pandemic. A reminder, this is yesterday's headlines. Fighting the disease, literally, Asian man punched in the face in Belgium for spreading coronavirus. Folks, let's not do this. Let's not go beating up Asians because of the virus. Not their fault. All right? Not saying that the Chinese government couldn't have anything to do with it, but the individuals out there that want to live in a free, peaceful society, just like you, it's not their fault. 10 rockets hit Iraq base housing U.S. troops. Again, reminder, this is yesterday's news. I know I keep saying that, but I don't want people to listen to the monologue and be like, thinking it was something new. It's China's fault for losing 2 months of COVID-19 prep, says Trump administration official, as experts warn U.S. remains unprepared. Yeah, it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, because we're not doing the necessary things in the United States to this point to put a stop to this. There's only one thing that's going to put a stop to this. One thing. And that's it. And that's avoiding gatherings. Right? It's the only thing. It's the only thing. That means all gatherings, by the way. That don't just mean the things you don't want to go to, like work. Right? Folks, concerts, political rallies, anything. Any type of gathering. Folks, it's the only way it's going to stop. We don't have a way yet to stop it any other way. Just don't have a way. Trump order expected on medical supplies amid outbreak. Of course, you heard that last night. 2 U.S. and 1 British troops killed in rocket attack on Iraq's Taji base. Italy to shutter all businesses besides pharmacies and grocery stores as coronavirus outbreak continues to spread. Which is where we should be right now. Seriously. First confirmed patient in Rhode Island talks about surviving coronavirus. And I know there's conflicting videos out there. You've got one person that'll tell you it was no big deal, and the other person that'll tell you they thought they were going to die for days. Right? Welcome to the way this works. The one don't outweigh the other. Okay? If it can make you that sick, we need to prepare for the thought that it could make us that sick, right? I hope to God that people don't go through life preparing everything for the best case scenario. If they did, man, are they setting themselves up for some major failure. Let's see, from last night, so we're getting close to today's stuff. Warplanes target near Syrian town of al-Bakamel and Iraq's Anbar province after rocket attack on Iraq base, says reports. Also last night, Italy confirms almost 200 deaths in 24 hours. Coalition confirms 3 dead, 12 wounded in rocket strike on Camp Taji in Iraq. Chelsea Manning attempted suicide while in jail for refusing to testify against WikiLeaks, says lawyers, which directly has to do with the very last thing that I tweeted. We'll get there in just a moment. We're still on last night. Trump suspends all travel from Europe for 30 days starting Friday as he addresses the nation on coronavirus. Televangelist Jim Baker sued by Missouri Attorney General for reportedly selling fake coronavirus cure. Oh. When are we going after Alex Jones? After he pays for his DUI? Let's see. Actor Tom Hanks announces he and his wife test positive for coronavirus in Australia. Trump says $200 billion in tax relief, low-interest loans among new financial stimulus measures to soften coronavirus impact. Now, small business low-interest loans, right, to help out with the small... Why do the banks get bailed out without interest? Why do big corporations get bailed out all the time? They don't get interest, right? They don't even have to pay taxes. Why are you going to make small businesses pay interest? Why are you trying to profit off of a tragedy? Ridiculous. When karma strikes back, NBA suspends season after Utah Jazz player who mocked coronavirus fears test positive. I think we're going to see a lot of karma. I think we're going to see a whole lot of karma in this country. A whole lot. Okay, now we're to today's stuff. Trump says $200 billion in tax. Oh, well, I read that headline, so... And I reshared that one too. I thought I did. Trump says trade will in no way be affected by Europe travel ban in apparent about face after markets crash. He still hasn't really made an about face. I will say that he's definitely turning directions, but he's got a few more moves before he's done an about face. He still needs to be a leader for one. That would be nice. It would be nice if he actually acted like a leader and would tell the it's just the fluers to knock it off. That would be nice. But he's not going to do that because he don't want to upset anybody, right? Can't have that. UK confirms Royal Army Medical Corps a member among 3 killed in rocket attack on Khaji. Wow, I'm just blowing this all to hell. Coalition base in Iraq. A Turkish foreign minister hits back at Greek counterpart as Ankara and Athens clash over Erdogan's Nazi comments. Global markets crash as U.S. bans European flights over coronavirus pandemic. Ability to help may reach limit. Italian doctor says medics exhausted helping isolated patients amid coronavirus pandemic. See, in Italy right now, and this has nothing to do with socialism. The idiots that think that this has to do with their healthcare system are just insane. They're insane. They need the shit slapped out of them, right? Right now, in Italy, they're having to pick and choose who they can save. And it has nothing to do with their healthcare system. You know, here's the interesting thing. Italy is like in the top 3. I forget what number exactly, but like in the top 3 of healthcare systems in the world. In the top 3. I want to say they're number 2, but I'm not positive on that. They're up there. They are way up there. The United States is number 37. Number 37 in healthcare. 37. Regardless of what Trump bumbled out of his mouth last night about how we've got the best medical... No, we don't. We're fucking number 37, jackass. Quit lying. Now is the time we should be honest. Human life is at stake. Is that not a time to be honest? Jeez. Blows my mind. Anyway, so Italy's having to pick and choose who they can save. And from my understanding, they're kind of leaning towards saving the younger ones and letting the elderly pass. Okay, we're going to be dealing with this situation here in the United States. This has nothing to do with the type of healthcare system. In fact, it honestly don't even have to do with the quality of the healthcare system. What it has to do with is the healthcare system that you do have being overrun. And that's what the problem is. Our healthcare system is going to be overrun. So you've got all these people out there, it's just the fluers, trying to compare this to the flu, trying to tell you that these fatality rates are way lower than what they actually are. And they haven't even thought about this yet, that the bad numbers haven't even started coming in because they've just been overwhelmed. So those death rates are going to go through the roof. And the same thing is going to happen here. Folks, we have to consider all the facts, not just the ones that feel warm and fuzzy to us. Those are all the facts. Our healthcare system will be overrun, right? There's a headline in here that is heartbreaking to me. Heartbreaking to me. But soon enough, in this country, we are going to have story after story after story after story that is very similar. I'll be getting to that headline soon enough. China past peak of coronavirus outbreak, health authorities say. India's economy major winner from global oil price collapse. Coronavirus will fade away by June if countries take urgent action, China COVID-19 advisor predicts. And I have to agree with him. Entire Real Madrid team sent into coronavirus quarantine as training-based lockdown following positive test, says reports. Now, you shared that out to show people that this is real. And this thing doesn't pick and choose. It doesn't care what type of work you do for a living. It doesn't care how much money you have or what kind of car you drive. It doesn't care. We've got to stop being pompous in this country. We've got to stop being arrogant in this country. There are things that it doesn't matter how much of a big badass you are, it'll bring you to your knees. We have to understand this. Russia says there is no oil price war with Saudi Arabia. Saudis want to flood Europe with cheap oil to squeeze out Russia, claims U.S. media. Galactic epidemic. Russia and Europe put the brakes on joint Mars mission due to coronavirus. UEFA set to suspend Champions League and Europa League amid coronavirus pandemic, says reports. Again, I don't normally, anything related to sports I don't normally share. The only reason is because it is related to this. How can we trust these people? Anger as UK minister supposed to self-isolate is seen coughing in Parliament. Right. Lack of responsibility, folks. There is a huge lack of responsibility in this. And that is what makes it so dangerous. In and of itself, it wouldn't be that dangerous if we were responsible. Let's see. Good news, Russia develops 15-minute COVID-19 test. Bad news, won't be available until the fall. Italians, more idiocy. Italians won't eat smooth pasta. Westerners won't eat Chinese food. Coronavirus panic spreads to culinary preferences. And I'm sure you've all heard about how, Corona, the brand of beer, is just not selling. People are refusing to drink that brand of beer because of the coronavirus. I can't explain it. I can't. I can't dumb myself down that much to be able to understand it. Wall Street faces another bloodbath as Dow drops over 2,000 points at opening bell. Russia-Saudi revenge against shale oil threatens to crush entire U.S. financial system, Professor Wolf tells Boom Bust. Now, this is on top of all of this other stuff. We're in trouble. Economically, we're about as done as it gets. Airline stocks nosedive after coronavirus pandemic triggers U.S.-Europe travel ban. I had to move quickly. Trump explains travel ban without consulting EU, says Britain excluded for good job on coronavirus. It's not a matter at this point of good job. It's a matter of timing, and it just hasn't been their turn yet. We'll see how of a good job they're doing in a couple of weeks. Canada's Trudeau self-isolates after wife displays flu-like symptoms and gets tested for COVID-19. Immoral and irresponsible, Beijing blasts U.S. over allegation China had covered up the spread of COVID-19 in Wuhan. Trump authorizes Pentagon to do what we need to do after deadly attack on U.S. and U.K. troops in Iraq, says Defense Secretary Esper. War? Question mark? I'm not concerned. Trump brushes off fears he got coronavirus after Bolsonaro's ComSec he met in Mar-a-Lago test positive. I'm not nearly as concerned about that as what I am the big meeting he went to in China in January. Okay? When this started in December in China. MMA, this is the news I was telling you about. To me, is heartbreaking, folks, and we're going to be hearing stories like this way more often than we would ever dream here in the United States. MMA trainer pleads for help as he's forced to wait with dead body of sister for 36 hours in coronavirus hit Italy. Folks, when systems are overrun, they're overrun. Worst public health crisis in a generation. Boris Johnson warns UK worst is yet to come in COVID-19 crisis. I would agree. And here, dipshits telling them a good job. Just not been their time yet. No longer appropriate. NHL pauses league due to coronavirus pandemic. UFC 249, Khabib versus Ferguson on brink of being canceled as New York bans gatherings of more than 500 people. And this is pretty much the same thing, other than it says that Broadway has been canceled. Oops. Okay, we have to make sacrifices. Francis Macron says all schools and universities to close Monday over COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I am glad that, people are already doing this. States are doing this, individual cities and whatnot are starting to do this, are starting to have school closures and stuff. That is a good thing. That is a good thing. Right? I will say that on more of a local, on a state level, these folks seem to be with it pretty well. On a national level, we're still trying to convince everybody it's the flu because we got an election coming. It is what it is. Russia closes its border to Italian citizens and anyone coming from Italy to help stop spread of COVID-19. Coronavirus spread prompts worst day on Wall Street since Black Monday of 1987. EU top dogs slam coronavirus travel bans but can't coordinate bloc's response as member states shut borders to defend themselves. What it's about right now, folks, take care of yourself and your loved ones, okay? And this was a headline that I referred to a little bit ago. Chelsea Manning released, let me repeat that, Chelsea Manning released from jail after suicide attempt, still must pay $256,000 fine, says the judge. So, sucks about the fine, sucks about the suicide attempt, but it's awesome news that the Manning is out. That's the good news we can get from it. I hope they leave her alone. I really do. I really do. Anyway, those are the headlines. That is all the garbage I had to say during the monologue. If you're here for the live show, stick around. We'll be live until 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're just here for the monologue or if you're watching the recording later on, thank you very much as always. God bless you. We love you and be one with your spirit.